Hello and welcome to the Walk in Love podcast. I'm TJ.
And I'm Brooke.
And today we are going to talk about rekindling the flame. Maybe is that the best title for it?
It could be.
Could
That
be.
sounds like
that sounds like more like
it sounds
sexual.
like love.
Yeah.
Whoa. No.
Okay.
Whoa.
Today's podcast is about something not like that. The Walk in Love podcast is a weekly conversation between Brooke and I about rhythms, faith, emotions, apparently love, romance. It's a place where we laugh and sometimes cry as we try to find language to live a full life.
Yes. And if you like your listening to line up with your living, then you are in the right place.
Thank you for listening and making us a part of your week. I first have to start off with an apology.
Oh. To me?
No, not to you. No, you're fine.
No, you're fine.
Obviously
Deal
not.
with it.
I don't know. Maybe I should apologize for you for picking up that little kid's picnic table off the side of the road.
I love that you came home with a very cute free picnic table that just needs sanded down.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's going to be a project for my Set 'em Up Sundays.
I love it. So I actually literally do love it. And my cousin Kate was here too when you pulled it out of the car and we were both like, oh, it's so cute.
It is.
Like we really do. Here's the thing though. I don't know why late at night, not late, just when it's dark. Here's my two options when taking out the trash.
Okay.
I can reopen the garage door.
Option 1, reopen the garage door.
Which is no effort whatsoever except pressing a button.
Pressing one button and then
pressing one button, walking out to the trash can, coming back in, pressing the button again.
Yep.
Barely any electricity. There is
super easy.
Super easy.
Barely an inconvenience.
Or I could walk out the front door, which does have a porch light, but you have to be pretty far down on the driveway for the sensor light, like the motion sensor light to turn on. And so if you cut straight to the trash can, you don't turn it on. So why, for the love of all things...
We also have two lights on the side of the garage. One is out, but one is on.
I never think to turn those on.
Yeah, it's the furthest switch.
It is the furthest switch. Okay, well, that would solve this problem right here. But I don't know why I think to myself, don't go through the garage, which is easier and has more light. There is something about having to, if I've already shut the garage door for the night.
Game over.
It feels wasteful to reopen it, which again, it is.
So you're telling me if a door
click.
Is shut for the night, there's no way we're reopening
Well, no,
it.
it's just the garage door because then I end up going in and out of the front door, which is just surprisingly way less functional to get to the stuff, to go over the stones. There's
it's
less
further,
light.
yeah.
It's a little bit further.
I mean, I wouldn't say way less functional.
I would.
You got a hot take.
I
the
would.
compass is there to guide you, babe.
Well, the compass didn't help me tonight.
Didn't.
Because I had a bag full of dirty diapers, and I thought I have to get this out of the house. Can't go through the garage. I've already shut the garage door for the night. So I go out the front door and forget that in the pitch dark, that this very cute picnic table is right at the edge of where the front door path meets the driveway.
Yeah.
And I
actually moved it a little bit today because I was cleaning out the garage.
Right. And I hit it so hard in the dark at a full walk speed that my shin is currently throbbing right now.
Yeah, you limped up the stairs to come record the podcast.
I yelled, hit the driveway, cried on the driveway for a while, and thought that the neighbor might hear me because I fell so hard and so fast. Then I came in and cried while you read Daisy books. And then...
Did the diaper bag rip open?
No. Thank goodness. That would have been...
Yeah.
That would have been next level.
So Brooke recording tonight is kind of a testimony to her strength and resilience.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So I'm not apologizing for that.
Oh, okay.
What I am apologizing for is we moved podcast platforms.
Yeah.
And because of that, we can now insert ads into any episode as long as
we've talked about it at length because it's an Inception thing happening.
Yes. We don't really know how to talk about it, but we can do it. But apparently I can't do it very well because we recorded an ad that was like, hey, well, you're listening to an old episode, but here's what we currently have going on. And it's an ad for Homejoy, which is great. But for some reason, that ad was going into current episodes. Yeah. So some of you who may have heard that ad in the last 3 or 4 episodes might have thought, this is an old episode. Why am I going to re-listen?
From the vault.
From the vault. But that's something that we would never do. We're never going to repost.
Never?
I don't think so. I don't think
Podcasts do that all the time.
They do?
But maybe not us. Maybe because we're not interview based or I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you ever seen like FTV from the vault? It's like
I've literally
FTV
never
colon
seen
like
those.
Donald Miller does it all the time, like people like
Oh,
that.
no.
And they're like, this was one of our top episodes ever. And then they just like reuse it.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we'll never do it, but we don't do it now. So if for some reason I still haven't fixed the issue, it's a lie. Homejoy's not a lie.
No.
Homejoy's great.
Yeah.
It's a great course.
Yeah.
You're listening. So I think what I've realized is I need to cut that language from any ads just in case this error happens again. And then the ads can just kind of live wherever they want. So sorry if you missed a couple episodes thinking that you were listening to an old one, now you got a couple. Now you got a couple.
Go catch up.
Now you got a couple to listen to. So yeah, that was the apology. The other thing I want to talk about is we have a collection coming out this week.
Yeah,
this week. Wow,
Yeah.
wow. On Thursday, the 18th at 9 p.m. Eastern. It has, I'm going to say 8 pieces in it. A couple of originals, a Fight the Good Fight, a Love
9.
Never Ends, 2 Choose Joy items, and then a brand new design that says, "This is my Sabbath shirt," which is awesome.
Yeah. Which is on the keeper tee.
Which is on the keeper tee.
The, like stretchy, little bit slouchier.
It's like the one you just want to lounge in all day and just like relax and do puzzles and read books and worship the Lord and maybe play some video games, maybe go on a walk. Lots of options.
Lots of options. Walking into a picnic table.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that on Sabbath, maybe like on a Monday night or something.
Yeah.
Well, I actually wouldn't recommend it ever, but if you're going to do it,
maybe not
not on a Sabbath. So yeah, that collection goes live. As we've said many, many times, and we'll say many, many more times, 2024, every item is, unless it's very clearly, obviously listed somewhere, is in stock and ready to ship right away.
This collection coming is not a pre-order.
No. Well
you will order your items and they will ship to you within a few days. They're ready to go.
They're ready to roll. So
yes. So if you're like, well, I have this in time for whatever.
Probably.
As long as it's not like 2 days later, like we're not Amazon Prime. Yes, you will have it in time.
They're extremely limited. We are ordering smaller quantities of everything. So pick one out.
Yeah.
Pick one up. Plan your purchase. We are going to try to start sending. No, not we're going to try. We are.
Love the more confident language, T.
We're sending out. We'll probably mostly launch stuff like on Thursdays or Fridays. That's usually when we do it, just in general. So whatever the Tuesday is before that, before a launch, we will send out an email called Plan Your Purchase.
Yeah.
And that will have like the product details, the blends, the pricing, the what type of t-shirt it is.
This is the same kind.
And that's just a way because we know like
not everybody sees our stories and stuff.
And we want you to have time to figure out your budget and what's going to work and what's not going to work and all that kind of stuff. So Plan Your Purchase email will go out on Tuesday. If you're on our email list, you will get that, but make sure you check for it because it might be in a promotions folder or a junk folder, but it will probably be titled Plan Your Purchase January collection. Wow. So super, super, super excited about that. And super stoked for all the designs and teas and items that we'll be launching this year. I just ordered the next collection.
Yeah.
Which is
good.
It's real good. I think that's it in sort of terms of like the newsy stuff. I do have an exciting, I wanted it to be ready for this week, but I just couldn't get it finished. I have an exciting like freebie video that I have for everybody. So I'll give you kind of the inside scoop since you listen to the podcast. So Brooke and I, we had this really great planning meeting we talked about in the last episode, which was not a repeat. It wasn't from the vault. It was from the current. And it was about our planning session for the year. And then in that planning session, we sort of like hashed out what our weekly rhythm version 1.0 should be. Surprise. We're already on version 1.1, I think.
Yes.
We actually might even be on version 2.0.
Like, literally like, I don't even 1.1 makes it sound like we shifted like a degree.
It was a massive shift. So what I do in this video is I show you how we take our rhythm listed out and turn it into like a time blocked, like time blocking on our like
a
iCal
calendar.
Yeah. And it's we're going to have that video available. But it's super cool. I'm actually like really pleased with how it turned out.
That's
And
awesome.
I think it'll be very helpful for those of you who like want to live rhythmically and kind of figure this out and tinker with it and all this kind of stuff. Do you
Cool.
have any sort of like that kind of stuff?
Right. I don't know if I do.
Oh man, we forgot our new segment that we wanted to start this year.
Which one?
Our headlines.
Oh, I didn't forget about it. It's in my notes app.
Okay.
I just haven't had any yet.
Okay.
Local woman. This just in.
Yes, there it is.
Local woman slams into mini table, cries on driveway. Neighbor Mary ignores her. Sweet.
Blood everywhere.
Not everywhere, but I did just elevate my foot in case y'all are wondering.
That's what I was wondering what you were doing.
I was like, I need it higher. Like it is throbbing. This laundry basket full of stuff is,
you're gonna have
is
a
better.
big,
It's going to be
a big old one.
Massive. Super fun.
How was your week, Brooke?
My week was
Well, let me
really good.
let me interrupt you first.
Fun. Love that so much.
Well, you didn't answer my other question that I asked you.
Oh, what did
Do
you
you
ask
have
me?
any sort of like, collection, ad mistake, fun freebie coming, just that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Did we talk about the our family meetings freebie? Like that's been up and live, but did we ever talk about it?
No, we didn't.
So while it's on my mind because you were talking about your video, I made it earlier the end of last year, but never really got a chance to fully talk about it. I made like a PDF about how to start having a family meeting.
Mm-hmm.
It's
maybe we're having a family meeting.
Did I want to quote that everywhere? But when you read it, it just looks like we're having a family meeting. So know that if you read that in quotes, that is what I'm doing. I'm saying it like that. But it's really helpful on just like how to get started, how to get your kids interested, how to plan it so that it's really so your agenda for it supports how little your kids are in the season of life you're in. And you're not like, I'm going to have this 60-minute meeting to get all organized and like nobody cares. It's basically
if you're having a 60-minute family meeting, you're having too long of a family meeting.
Yes. And just like kind of walks you through like a few things to pick. There's a nice little thing you can print out if you actually want to like fill it out as your actual little agenda. So that is on the website, on the homepage of the website. I don't know how far you have to scroll down if you're on a phone.
You can find it in the show notes.
Okay.
Or you can message us. What episode are we on? Whatever episode we're on, whatever the number is.
Go look at it and we'll have set it up for that number.
Yeah, well, you can DM us on Instagram and
or
we'll
you
shoot
can go
a
to
link.
the website and scroll down until it's like, are you here for free stuff? And then that's one of the free things.
Boom.
So
nice. And you have another freebie coming, but we aren't finished with that one quite yet.
No, not yet.
But that one is.
That one's really good.
Chef's kiss. Okay, those are all the updates. Now, jump to my next question.
Yes. How was my week?
How was your week? Tell me the tale of your week, Brooke.
My week was great.
Until about 40 minutes ago.
Yes, till I hit my leg on the very cute picnic table. My week was great. So my cousin Kate, who if you listening have been around a very, very, very long time, you might remember her.
Yeah.
Or I used to see her way more often.
Yep.
Sometimes like post some of her content and things like that. So you might know, you might be like, is that the Kate? It is the Kate. If you're like, I don't know what she's talking about. I have a cousin named Kate.
Wow.
And
well said.
We're still close, but we were very close as kids. We both are the oldest girls, and then we both have one younger brother, and we're all very similar in age. And so Kate was probably the closest thing I had to a sister growing up.
Right.
We would see each other even though they lived in North Carolina, we would see them probably 3 to 4 times a year.
Wow.
Which now that I think about that from like an actual family dynamic perspective, like that's commitment.
Yeah.
To like do life with someone when you have to like drive.
Yeah.
Quite a while, 7+ hours. And then we ended up going to college together, which was like so fun. Not really like a super intentional dream growing up, but then it kind of just happened and it ended up being so great. And then we've obviously stayed in touch and, done all the fun things. Like we've gone to the beach together and we've just like I don't want to say it's totally sister stuff because I don't know. I don't have a sister, but to me, it feels now watching my girls have sisters. I'm like, yes, that is very much a role that she filled in my life. So Kate has 3 kids. They are older now. They are 16. Wild. Madeline is 16. And then 2 boys that are like 12 and 10. And so, when you're in the like throes of little kids, especially her being a single mom, I just like, we just didn't see each other a lot.
Right.
So we've stayed in touch. We Marco Polo quite a bit, but I have not seen her with my eyeballs since Sunny when she got off the plane. She was like, Sunny, the last time I saw you, I gave you a bath in your kitchen sink.
Wow.
And Sunny turned 6 this week.
Wild.
So
gosh,
she had to be less than a year if she was fitting in the sink.
Yeah.
And so it's been like 5 years. I know that's literally
DJ, the last time I saw you, I gave you a bath in a sink.
Yeah. And so it had just been a while. And so she had messaged not that long ago, maybe 6 months ago or something. It was like, I'm looking at flights to Maui. They're not that expensive. Which the amount of people who text us that.
Hey, that's a real thing.
That is a real thing. Can they be expensive?
Yes.
Absolutely. If you pick like a super direct way, or you're trying to get all the premium seats, or maybe it's a certain time of year, can they be expensive? Yes. Most of the time though, that is not, you're going to end up spending all your money trying to stay here and eat here. Like it's not in your car.
Oh, that's 100%
It's not
true.
all going towards your flights. The amount of people who are like, it's really not that expensive. Can I actually come?
Yeah.
And so I was like, absolutely, you can come. She had a break in her work and was able to do it with her kids, or leave her kids back in North Carolina. And so she came for 8 days.
Yeah.
And it was so fun. It was like, I didn't know that deep in my soul I needed it as much as I did. Excuse me.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
I think maybe if you had said like, if like someone had
I think you can
prodded,
say what you said to me
like,
the other night.
I think if someone had prodded deeper questions of like, not just, are you excited to see her, but like something deeper, I think I could have gotten there probably on the front end.
Yeah.
But having dropped her off at the airport last night,
did you weep as much as running into the picnic table, or?
No, actually, I think I maybe cried a little more for the picnic table because I was shocked that I hit it in the dark. I always cry. I shouldn't say always. I often cry when I drop people off. Not so much when I'm like hugging them, because I'm not like, I'm so sad you're leaving.
Right.
Like the tears aren't really about like the actual departure.
Yeah.
The tears usually follow afterwards and are more about like, wow, that happened. Wow, they actually came. I'm worth visiting. A lot of that stuff. Like I didn't know that I needed the visit as much as I did. Because again, like, my kids are still really little. Like I'm a little more head down in parenting now than she is in terms of like the age of our kids. And so like we weren't like exactly overlapping with our kids' ages to the point where we're both coming out of it and they're like functioning and like, they can stay home alone or not like while you take a trip, but just like in general, her kids are so much more independent than ours at their age. And so.
But I thought it was really cool what you said to me. And I don't think this is like a slight on anybody or any sort of the relationship or anything, but you had said to me last night, you'd said, it was something that I thought would never happen. And it did. And so there's like something so glorious and wonderful about that like, and you didn't think it wasn't going to happen because Kate doesn't love you or care for you, or you guys don't have a great relationship. Like there was no sort of like malice or like, hot takes or hot feelings.
But it's sort of like you're friends with someone in high school. You've got a group of high school friends and you're like, we're going to be friends forever. Yeah. And then a decade later, 20 years later, you're just not.
Yeah.
And so it was like, not that I was feeling like we weren't, but it was like, I mean, that was the longest we've ever gone in our lives not seeing each other. And then I move as far as I do.
Yeah.
And I just like, I don't know. I wasn't consciously thinking I'm never seeing her again.
Right.
Like, of course I wasn't thinking that.
Yeah.
But I was so surprised
that it happened,
that it like actually happened and worked out.
And that like,
I think she honestly felt the same way. Cause let me circle back to picking her up. I was like, I need to leave the house right now. Cause almost all Maui planes land early. I need to swing into Target first. Like, I got to go. And then we ended up having you and me like a longer conversation. So I was later to leaving than I had hoped. So as I was hopping in the truck, I got her text that said, I'm here.
fires up Brooke's mind to have a conversation more than the need to leave the house.
Right.
I don't know. Is that like
I need to like close loops or something.
Is that
I
a
need
normal
to like
thing?
close thoughts.
I'm gonna put that
Or
on.
maybe I'm afraid I'm gonna forget. Like
I'm reminding myself right now to put that as a poll
yeah.
on the Facebook page.
Okay. But anyway, in the truck backing up and I see her text come through that says, I'm here. And then with a bunch of laugh eyes of like, this is her speaking. Like, I literally planned no further than this. Am I supposed to Uber to your house? Like she didn't even like that was it. Her point was like setting everybody up to leave. And then I am getting on that plane.
Yeah.
And she's a pretty good planner. Like
Yeah.
she does plan things.
Yeah.
She's, a quasi-organized person. And so for her to be like, have literally landed on Maui and then be like, oh, we didn't communicate at all about like what the plan is now. And I was like, no, you don't have to Uber. I'm on my way. I'm less than 20 minutes away.
I mean, you had to go all the way into town.
I did. But it was just, we laughed really hard when she got in the car.
It was really sweet to like, again, not that I doubted that it would happen or anything like that. It's just something that was like, oh, it's not something that I'm actively thinking about. Like,
No.
we're actively thinking about our families coming and when siblings or parents or something like that.
Yes.
And so it's like that other circle. It's not like we're actively thinking. Like I felt the same way about when Callista and Evan came.
Yes.
Like it was like they're
so
here.
fun, but I'm like, you did it. You're
Wow,
actually here.
This is crazy. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was like more in that realm. But I think more in that realm and like more like filling up your cup.
Yeah.
Than I think you realized it would.
Yeah.
And so it was just really beautiful and really cool to see that. And yeah, it was just like a special week and a special like little chunk of time for you.
Yeah. So we did all the things,
People don't live here.
I know. We did as much as we could. Let me say that about once a year, or since living here, I feel that that's true. There's usually one pretty big storm.
Yep.
Again, storm. I just mean a lot of rain. I don't mean like hurricane. I just mean like
But it was actually a tropical storm.
Rainstorm comes through to the point where like the parts of the island really flood and get very muddy, which makes the water unswimmable for a while. And so
don't go in the murky water.
Just don't.
Just
do yourself
don't
a
do
favor
it.
for a lot of reasons. Just don't do it. And so unfortunately, a few days of that storm did hit over her time. We made it work and did other fun things. But I was like,
she finished 2 500-piece puzzles.
Oh,
so.
one was 1,000.
Okay. Wow.
She did a 500-piece one in 24 hours. Yeah, that's right. 24 hours. And then 1,000-piece one in like 36 hours.
That's amazing.
And I was like, wow. She's like, I'm in the zone.
Maybe she could beat both of us.
Probably. Honestly.
Easily beat you, but
yeah.
maybe she might have a little bit harder time beating me.
Yeah. So we went to like one of our favorite beaches that we always go to. And that was like the first day. We swam. We did the tide pools.
Yeah.
It
was shelling. We had a good shelling day.
That was the next day or maybe the following day. It's kind of hard to keep track.
Because I went that day.
But that was a really fun day. Or no, that would have been the very next day. That was Saturday.
Yep.
Which was really fun because the water was really clear and pretty calm.
Yeah.
And so we all got to swim and
then it was like
dive for shells. And we were at the point where you didn't even have to go far deep under. Like if you were just floating on the surface as you would for like snorkeling, like that kind of a thing. You could hear the whales singing. Sometimes you have to like really dive down, hold your breath and not move. And then you're like, oh, I think I hear them. But no. This was like so loud just on the surface of right under the surface of the water, which is never not one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah. It's just not.
You're just like,
never
oh my
not.
word, they're out there all singing and I can hear them right here.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Wild. That was cool too, because that day I'm sitting on the beach and we actually drove 2 cars because I was like, you're going to want to stay a lot longer than Daisy.
And the big girls
can
are going to
hang.
want to stay.
So I'll just drive the van and then I'll just take Daisy
for her nap.
Yeah. And I'll be that guy. That's fine.
Yeah.
And so, but we're sitting on the beach and I'm like, I think I know those kids. And June and Sunny's like 2 buddies that lived in the neighborhood were at the same beach. And so they
which
just
has never happened. We've never run into them at a beach. So it was a big
they just
deal.
lost their minds. And so you guys stayed basically all day.
We stayed a long time. And because the neighborhood girls were there with like their older cousin, Kate, I was like, I said to the older cousin, I was like, we're going to go snorkel down here. Like, can my girls stay with you?
Yeah.
And so like Kate and I actually got to walk away
That's cool.
and like actually snorkel around, and it was really fun. I hadn't been out snorkeling in a while, and I've actually never really done it on the left side of the beach we were at. For whatever reason, I've only ever done it on the right. And at the left side, there wasn't a ton of fish. It really does fluctuate sometimes, which is so weird. You think you're going to see the same thing every time, and you don't. But there was just like thousands of the round urchins, like the ones that if I had swam down, I could have actually picked up.
Yeah.
And then we saw like, it's funny. All the fish you see, you like associate them with their character in Nemo.
Right.
You know,
like
it's
that's the only way
just
to
like
catalog
there was
fish.
a bunch of Nemos, there was a bunch of Gills, there was a bunch of the like, I'm obnoxious. Like
best line in the whole movie.
Oh, fantastic. There was a turtle around that day, not in the snorkeling part, but that day really was great.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you this. I'm remembering now. So we went and snorkeled to the left. Well, I guess it depends which way you're facing.
You're
not
facing
the
ocean.
not the tide pool
when you
side.
snorkel, you're facing the ocean.
Yeah. So we went over there, but then I was like, well, the snorkeling on the right's not bad and it's not very choppy. So let's go over. So it wasn't as clear or whatever. And so we're snorkeling out a little bit. And Kate kept saying, she's like, you keep finding more shells than me. And I'm like, it's sort of like thrifting or anything like that.
Right.
Like I know what patterns I'm looking for. And so I can spot them really quickly.
Yeah.
I know what shape or how the water, like I just know what I'm looking for, which makes a big difference.
Yep.
And so
you know what it looks like when it's just barely sticking above the sand.
So you know to dig for it.
And so like, if it's, and your hope is that it's whole.
Yes. Always hoping for a hole. Nobody wants any halvesies.
Garbage.
So we're snorkeling and I'm like, I don't know, I'm on the surface, right? And maybe 5 feet down, maybe. But so like there's a huge thing of coral, right? Like the top of it starts about 5 feet down from me. And then obviously it goes way down to the bottom of the ocean, to the floor. But there's this like little crevice in the top of this coral. And my eyes catch the pattern of a cone shell.
Okay.
And so I'm like getting kind of tossed around. So I swirl back. I'm like circling this same spot and I'm like waving Kate to come over to me. And I'm pointing that down in this like coral crevice, y'all can't see me right now, but there was a cone shell about 6 to 7 inches long. Full. It was alive. And I was like, I refuse to die. I could tell it was alive because of how it was like nestled in there. And if it wasn't alive, it would have floated out of there. And I was a little afraid to dive for it.
Yeah.
Because it was like, it's not like it was choppy, but I was also like, I've never dove like that for a shell. But we stared at that thing, contemplating like, do I try to get it out? Will I be okay with the urchins? What if if it really is alive in there? I'm not going to keep it. But I have woken up and thought about that shell. Like we went back. So that was on a Saturday and Kate left on the next Friday. We went back to that same beach Friday morning. We didn't swim. It was too murky, but we were over in those tide pools for a long time. And we were like, I took my phone with me, which I don't normally do. And I was like, if this sucker washes up, God is real of the universe. And he loves me after all.
He has a plan for me after all.
Because I will never forget looking at that thing. So anyway, so we went out for pizza.
Well, at the end of the week, I was like, you basically did Moms on Maui.
We did. Yeah. But just the two of us.
Just the two of you.
Yeah.
And June and Sunny tagged along quite a bit. Yeah.
Tagged along for a lot. Like we did North Shore, which that was funny. So we went to North Shore because we were doing something else. And I was like, since I have to do this meeting anyway, let's go do that. Yeah. And then we're just going to tack on like the waterfalls and some of this other stuff. Waterfalls were great. June got all the way in and Kate got all the way in. Sunny was like struggling. So I was going to get all the way in, but I couldn't really leave her behind.
And we say that because the water from the waterfall is very cold.
Oh my word. Yeah. It's so, I'm not like, wow, they did it. I'm like, wow, they did it.
Yeah.
It is, it's like a cold plunge. I mean, it's not, but if you've never done a cold plunge, it is like a cold plunge.
Right. Yes.
You still leave feeling very energized
100%.
Because of the cold water.
Yep.
And so we go North Shore and there's this one place, there's a lot of places, but there's one really great place you can stop and like watch the surfers or watch the windsurfers. and it's really
and
cool.
watch the just giant waves.
Just the
of the
giant
North
waves.
Shore,
It's really fun. And so anytime I've gone there with anybody, we always end up staying so much longer than we think. We're like, we'll just like pop out and take a picture.
Yeah.
And like 52 minutes later, we're all still standing
so
there.
like peaceful and
it was so, because of the storms that were coming.
Yeah.
It was so windy.
Yeah.
Like, it was the windiest day I've ever been there. I kept telling the girls, like, you may not walk closer than where I'm pointing to the edges because it's going to blow you off into the water. Like, I was a little nervous. So anyway, if you climb back up out of there and you're like looking down at the actual beach part, there's often a lot of turtles there.
Mm-hmm.
In the daylight, like they just come out and they all sleep. So we're like, we hadn't walked down closer yet. We were like still way up top looking. And I'm like pointing, trying to explain to Kate where they are. And I'm like, yeah, do you see them? There's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I see 4 like way up in the sand. And she's like, yeah, I see those. But I think there's more than that. And I'm like, no, like, do you see the 4 like way up there? And she's like, yeah, but all those rocks look like turtles. And my eye, like, I just didn't know. One of those things
where it was like one of those like visual puzzles where it's like, do you see the rabbit or the old lady?
Yes,
and you're like,
literally. And
no, I just see a rabbit.
Because there were so many big rocks, I was just like, those are all rocks, which is crazy how much they really look like that. And then the 4 that had gone way further into the sand. So our final count was like 63.
What?
Yes, it was insane, which is why it was so funny that I was like, there's 4.
Oh,
yeah. And she's like, I think there's more. And I was like, oh my word.
The lady that helps me at Sunday school. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got all the kids. There's 7 of them.
I think there's more. But that was really cool. So we walked down, not actually to the sand, but just to like the little picnic table-y lookout area. And there was just so many. And they were like kind of piled. Usually they spread out, but they were like the one had its face like way up on the other one's back. Like they were just kind of all jumbled in there, which they're not a snuggly animal.
No.
So it was funny to see them.
That's awesome.
Like that. But yeah, we got shave ice or fruit shave. We got acai bowls 3 times.
Yeah. That was one of our Mount Rushmores.
The acai bowls. Yeah. We just like did all the things. And then we were just here. Like we did puzzles and we made dinner and we watched School of Rock, which was so random.
I was either while this was happening, I was either cleaning the kitchen, watching Daisy, or going to bed super early. Yeah. Because that's something I'm doing this year.
I love it.
Going to bed early.
I genuinely love that for you so much because that's not your
my default is
natural whatever. Whatever.
If you anything else to add about Kate before I go into this?
No, just
tangent?
that like we did so many things. We went to the aquarium. We were like trying to do stuff inside, for some of the days. But
the girls really loved it. The big girl.
They loved.
I mean, all 3 girls loved her, but like,
yeah,
specifically Sunny, I feel like really like.
She just sometimes girls, you just scared us so badly. The girls just came up and really, really shook us. Hold on 1 second, everybody.
Oh my word. They scared me good.
Yeah, well, I didn't see them coming, but I saw them first because I'm facing the direction of the door.
I mean, I shut their door for bedtime around 8 and it's 9:20 now.
Yeah.
And normally if they like are up,
they're squirrely and loud.
They're squirrely and loud, and so we hear them. So we haven't heard a single sound.
Yeah.
And so then I just heard something. I was like, what is that? And then I turned and they were right there.
Oh, my word.
And my heart is pounding. Anyways, Sunny and Kate hit it off. All the girls hit it off with her.
Yeah.
Daisy said the word Kate, I think 4.2 million times while she was here. Just screaming it. One volume.
And
so yeah, she just screamed it. So anyways, I was about to talk about going to bed early. So it's January 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Since our planning meeting at the end of the year, traveling back to Hawaii, and then thinking like that's like, oh, our year's going to sort of look like this.
Yeah. I mean, because like we said last week, a lot of our planning meeting revolved around business and just it revolved around all integrated parts of our life. It wasn't just what's our kid's schedule and what do we do, you know?
I would say in these first 13 days, I have had a radical transformation of what this year's going to look like. And that has brought with it a plethora of emotion, some good, some, I think most good, but I think some just like, whoa, I was like,
I mean, I know you don't like it, or you typically don't like it when I use this phrase, but when I'm always like, yep, that's fine. Let me wrap my head around that.
yeah,
Like when I'm just like, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. How do I get my emotions and body to do the same?
yeah. And like, I think the change that we're making, again, it's mostly a businessy sort of conversation.
Yeah.
And so without getting like too into the details of like what we're doing and how we're going to do it and all this kind of stuff, it just like, it's a radical change. Like me saying, oh, we have our weekly rhythm 1.0.
Yeah.
It's not a 1.0 to 1.1. It's a 1.0 to a 2.0.
Yeah.
Like it was such like a abrupt and not abrupt in like we had to do it. It was like I had a conversation with a friend of mine and that was like sort of the catalyst of just like, oh, that makes way more sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now that has like, what it's done is it's sort of like surfaced up emotions, feelings, thoughts, ideas that I have about myself that are like, am I valuable outside of doing X? Do I have worth outside of performing in this way? Am I capable of letting some things go for my identity's sake, for my purpose? Like, and so, yeah, I've had to answer those questions in the first 13 days of the year. And I think I'm answering them or I think
You're at least asking them and entertaining them. They don't all have answers yet.
I'm on the path to answer them or to at least be comfortable without an answer, which I think is going to be a lot of it. But in sort of that we'll circle back to that, I think, in a little bit. But in sort of that, I've realized that like, because the rhythm went from 1.0 to 2.0, I need to wake up a lot earlier than I am. And so I need to go to bed earlier than I do.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, that's just like, that's sort of a science thing. Matt and I have this dumb joke where, so we play this game called Apex Legends.
A video game.
Yes. And it's like a battle royale game. So that means like you start in a ring, the ring gets smaller and smaller to push you closer and closer to.
Yeah.
And like this
last team standing wins.
The standard way to play this game is like you want to sort of stay on the edge of the ring.
Right.
Because now you have one side that you know someone's not going to attack you from.
Right. Because that side of the ring's closed
So we
off.
also play with my brother Michael.
Yeah.
And like this is probably 2 years ago. One time he goes, you know what we should do? We should play by the edge of the ring. Dead serious. As serious as a heart attack.
Yeah.
Michael was.
Yeah.
Just giving us this advice that is so
standard and
obvious in such a way that like, one, it was like sort of offensive to us. Like, isn't that what we are?
What do you think we've been doing for the last 8 years of playing this together? Yeah.
And then two, so every now and then, like just today I was playing with Matt. He's like, you know what we should do? We should like, just like, I don't have an idea, this idea. I was reading it on Reddit the other day that like, we should like play the edge of the ring and just play it as it gets smaller.
Yeah.
So that's like, they're like, if you go to bed earlier,
yeah,
you can get up earlier.
Yeah.
So imagine
that's more than just on Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that character that like, just like, it's like, let me hit you with a fact.
Yeah.
If you eat less calories than you put out,
yeah,
you're gonna lose some weight.
Right.
You know. So, anyways, because I downloaded this app Opal last year and I'm going to use it all year long. I've set at 9 o'clock. My phone basically becomes useless.
Yeah.
Like it literally, like I can't use Safari. I can't get on Instagram. I can't check YouTube. I can't look at my stock market app, which
do it like
I literally can't do anything.
You just like fill time with.
Yep. I can't look at IMDb. I can't look at the Shopify app. Yeah. And so literally at 9 o'clock, it just like shuts down. I can get into Audible. I could send some text messages. I can look at my photos or take a photo and then I can read the Bible. And it'll surprise you. Like, and there's no way out of it. I can't, like, I have it on. So Opal, the way Opal works is that you can set your blocks on different like levels of like different degrees. And so like one's called like normal where you can like snooze it, like snooze the
like,
blocks.
Oh shoot, I do need this thing I
for
forgot
5
about.
minutes. And then like, you know, like
sort of like the current Apple screen time reminder.
Yeah, a little bit,
like,
but it's a little more intense than
minute.
that. Yeah. And then there's like a timeout version where it's like the snoozes are like a lot harder to like they're further between like, or like you'll go to snooze and it'll be like, you can snooze in 45 seconds. But if you close the app, that 45 seconds starts back over. So you just sit there.
You gotta really need it.
Yeah. And then there's like a threat level midnight version.
Threat level midnight.
Where I can't get into it.
Yeah.
Literally,
like an
I can't.
actual safe or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
And so at 9:00, my phone basically goes into this mode. And so you would be shocked how quickly you're like, I guess I'll go to bed.
Yep.
And I have.
Yeah.
And it's been really good for me.
I'm
getting
that.
tons of sleep.
I love that.
Put the mouth tape on. Boom, baby.
Yeah, you're out.
I feel like if I added like a heavyweight blanket with the mouth tape, I might not ever get up.
That's true. You used to sleep with one and you wouldn't move.
Yeah. So
but then it was too hot.
Yes.
Which we would definitely feel back here.
But I'm a firm believer. I know I've said it before, but my strong feelings are continually that like the mouth tape works.
Yeah.
Because I ran out for like 4 days and I was up and tossing and turning.
Yeah.
And what I've really been surprised by, and maybe this is in like if you like do a really deep dive into the science of, I am shocked at when I use it, when I don't use it. I wake up because I'm too hot.
Yes.
And so
you've always been a hot sleeper. Like that.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We did say
this was
talking about romance.
And I feel like I feel like mine fluctuates more. I feel like I'm not always hot. I feel like mine's probably hormonal.
Yeah.
And a little bit if I'm next to you who's super warm.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But if I wake up in the middle of the night, I either need to go to the bathroom or I'm like
a million degrees. Yeah.
And so, but I've noticed that when I use the tape, that doesn't happen. So it's like doing something to.
Well, yeah, because if you fall into a deeper sleep,
my temperature,
your body should, cool, like go into like a not, it's like a freezer mode or, or whatever. I don't know. Like your temperature should drop. I don't know what to call it. That's not it.
Threat level midnight.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Freezer mode edition.
So that's been really good. I've been really pumped about that. But yeah, this year, sort of these 13 days have been sort of interesting for me. And I was doing the dishes tonight and started weeping because, not because of the dishes. I've gotten used to doing those. I actually like doing those now. But we actually had music. So the girls, Brooke went to Costco with Daisy. I had the big girls. We ran an errand and then we came back home and I was like, we got to clean the living room. And I'm like, I'm in this mode of like, I'm training these girls to do things.
It's such effort, isn't it?
Do I want to just be like, go play and I'll do this by myself while I listen to the book that I like in my headphone? And like, that's a nice time for me. But like in the long run, it's going to be much more helpful for them if they learn how to clean. And so,
and us.
Yes. And so I was like, I'll put some music on. So I started with, the little like the Snails EP by the Format, like Snails see the benefit.
Yes, the one I can picture the drawing on the front.
Real like it's a fun EP. I love the Format.
Old school emo.
Yeah. And so it was like playing in our kitchen and in the living room. And so like no matter where you were in the house putting stuff away, you could hear it. So that's like a way that we try to like encourage cleaning and help with cleaning.
Yeah.
And so then we were finished cleaning the room and I started cleaning. Like I made them quesadillas and then I was like doing the dishes while they were eating. And then they kind of scurried off and I kept cleaning up. Yeah. And so it was like Format stopped and I have my phone set or HomePod set to like, it just plays infinitely. So it just like fills in, like, it sort of like tries to stay in the same genre
you were in and suggest something else
as you go. And so it was like, it played a Dashboard song and then a Jimmy Eat World song. I'm vibing.
Yeah.
I'm just having
for sure.
Like
I mean, if those are playing.
Yeah. I'm feeling the vibes. And then it plays, and so I'm doing the dishes, and it plays this song, an old song by the Honorary Title, which is like not a really like I wouldn't say they're like a well-known emo band. Like they're pretty like I feel like they're pretty obscure.
Yeah.
Like I don't think like
I mean, it's not Jimmy Eat World, it's not Dashboard, it's not.
And so the song is called Stuck at Sea, and I've listened to it hundreds of times.
Yeah. So have I.
And so
because you were like, this song made me weep, and then I was like, is this
the right song?
New? Like I'm like, this isn't new. I listened to this in college.
And so, but this line just hit me, and I feel like it was just like a really good encapsulation of sort of like how I've been feeling this year. And it says, I keep burning my fingers, and I'm gonna probably cry reading it. I keep burning my fingers in an attempt to rekindle the flame. And that line, just literally that line, and I feel like why it's so accurate is because it's such a good way to talk about how like hard life can be at times in
Mhm.
different areas, but but specifically for people who don't want to give up,
Mm.
specifically for people who are like, no, I'm in it to fight the good fight.
I want the flame.
Yeah, I want the flame. Like,
Yeah.
it would be easier to just be like, no, I'm just going to start another fire somewhere else.
Yes. Or
Like-
that flame. Yeah. Yeah.
Like even just this example of like cleaning up with the kids, like
Mhm.
it's easier to start to fan the flame of just me doing it myself.
Mhm.
It is much windier and harder, and the match is flimsier
Mhm.
when I want to start the fire under them
Yeah.
to get them to clean the room.
Yeah.
And like, I just feel that so deeply right now. I think it's been like, a lot of it has to do with business, but now a lot of it has to do with like sort of setting down business,
Mm.
sort of setting down maybe a role that I thought I would have for a long time,
Mhm.
sort of setting down like more of my opinion of myself.
Mm.
But yeah, I feel that so deeply. I keep burning my fingers trying to rekindle the flame.
Mhm.
That is so real to me. And so Brooke was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just crying listening to the honorary title."
Yeah. Well,
It's
I'm
not
on the
even
driveway crying, so it's been a night.
blood everywhere.
Yeah. Do you feel like, and if you go back on what you literally just said as we continue to like talk about this visual and metaphor, that's totally fine. Do you feel like because I feel like that's very accurate for you. Do you feel like what you are learning is that you actually do need to let that flame go out? I'm sure we could use this metaphor like both ways. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, do you need to let that go out and go light something different? Or do you kind of know what I'm asking? Like, is that, are you feeling those things because you're burning your fingers trying to do that? Or is it more just like, no, that flame will always be the flame. That flame is me,
I feel
not,
that
and it's
like
not
when
like
it
a
makes me
flame here
weep.
and a flame here.
No,
and a
when
flame
it
here.
makes me weep, it's like the God is so good, so strong and so mighty. There's nothing our God cannot do. um,
You said that first line with such clarity. I was like, he's quoting something.
do you not know that song? Our God is so good, so strong and so mighty. There's nothing our God cannot do for you.
Yeah, I do know that song.
We sing it in Sunday school. And so
I was surprised you know it. I feel like you don't normally
Yeah.
know those songs. And I'm like, you didn't sing that growing up?
anyways, so like our God is so good, so strong, stuck in a loop that like he gave us, you, me, anyone listening, like a very unique, one of a kind personality.
Yes.
Like that's incredible.
Mhm.
Like you have, I have, we have, they have specific skills, giftings, abilities, tendencies, emotions,
Yeah.
like physical, like ability, like, you can break it down in any way,
Yeah.
shape or form
Yeah.
to the microscopic level that like we just like are created
Mhm.
in this, like by this beautiful, amazing, magnificent God.
Mhm.
And, when we find Christ, when we realize that we need Jesus and we find him, it lights a flame in our life, and it takes those incredible giftings and those things and those uniqueness, and it gives it such a bounty of purpose.
Mhm.
And that purpose then is lived out for our whole life on earth, hopefully.
Yeah.
And there are times when that purpose is that candle and it feels like it's dwindling. Like we feel lost or confused, or we've had some missed opportunities or some tragedy or something that didn't go our way. And it can be so frustrating. And I think why that line hits me so deeply is because like I feel that for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
And people might hear me say that and be like, oh, maybe their marriage isn't going so good. Or maybe
right.
and it's like, no, like it can just be a part of life and affect your like whole emotions.
Yeah.
But I don't want the flame to ever go out. And so I will keep burning my fingers. Like I will keep doing whatever it takes, fully realizing that like, it's really not what I do that is what it takes. And that's sort of the loop that I find myself in, is like, I keep burning my fingers trying to relight
Maybe
the
that's
flame.
kind of what I was trying to ask, but didn't.
And it's
Didn't quite
like,
get there.
and what I'm realizing these first 13 days of the year is like, man, how much time do I waste burning my fingers when the Lord is
Digging for your matches, lighting the match, realizing it didn't work, putting it in the trash.
when like he's the fire burning inside of me.
Yeah.
Like it's all him.
Yeah.
It's all for him. It's all his glory. It's all for him and about him, that like when I try to just rekindle this small little flame of my life, that it's like, what a wasted opportunity, what a waste of matches. Like, and so, yeah, I just feel like I'm sort of circling around that. And then like, so I'm feeling all these emotions. I'm trying to be like there for Brooke, like I'm trying to be like, okay, you have fun this week.
Well, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
We were mainland for what, 18, 19 days, come back and which we knew, like I knew this was going to be our schedule. There wasn't much we could do about it, but like we were here for 3 days.
My dad was here for 2 of those.
No, we were here for 4 days. Your dad was here for 2 and Kate landed on the 4th day. And so I'm like, we are as a family are barely readjusted to Hawaii time. And I'm not jumping into any work tasks, which was fine. Very talked about in advance, but just like all of that swirling around.
And so there's all these feelings of like, I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I need to do this. I need to do that. I'm behind on this. What if we don't get that started? Like all this kind of stuff. All while I'm having conversations with my friend Ian, who's like, sort of like making me go to from 1.0 to 2.0. Like it's just been a wild 13 days to feel like, and again, I think this is why the Lord is so kind. And we say that all the time, because like all this does, all this sort of like, well, feeling all these things, like it makes me realize how good he is and how good God is and how much I need him. And it's like, that is why I weep while doing the dishes. You weep because you literally cut your shin open. I'm weeping because like, I love that fresh reminder of his goodness. Yeah. And it's like, I'll be reminded by that in like the way my kids smile, or the way that I love you, or the way that like the sunset looks, or a whale jumping out of the water, or like in an
I saw official whales jumping this week.
Or like in an old emo song that I've listened to 100 times. Yeah. That is probably about a girl and heartache.
Oh, it's
and
not
like,
about that at all. It's
like
just
whatever.
like the one line. But that goes to show the power of specific language to use in your life, which we are all literally.
So anyways,
like we're always talking about it.
So let me go back 24 hours. So tonight is this whole sort of separate thing. It's Friday night. We have our family dinner. Kate's there for Shabbat dinner. Yeah. And then we usually watch a movie, but then she was like going to leave partway through, but turns out new Bluey season came out, or part of the new episodes came out. And the girls are like, can we just watch that as our family movie? And I'm like, sure, that sounds great. It's shorter. We'll go to bed earlier.
Just watch all the new
Brooke
ones in a row.
can leave then and take Kate, and like it actually kind of works out well. Yeah. And so we're watching this episode, and
the 2 back-to-back beach
yes.
Because you start with the first one, which is I could have a whole episode about.
Which I think we will. The first episode, which is called Relax.
Not the first one. The first one we are talking about. Yes, it's called Relax.
And it's basically a commercial for moms on Maui.
Basically.
Like it is.
We were both like weeping. It was so good.
So then there's this
and then there's the very next
episode where they're at the beach,
and
it's
Stick
like
Bird.
And it's a continuation, and the kids keep trying to get Bandit's attention. Yeah. And he is like, sorry, what? And then Chili's like, you gotta let it go. Yeah. And
then they keep trying to get attention, and
he's just like zoning out.
He's like zoning out in different places, and then he's helping Bingo build this little stick bird out of a stick that looks like a bird, like kids do, in the sand and all this stuff. And then we're totally spoiling the episode. Sorry,
it's 9 minutes long though. So.
You'll be fine. You're over it. These other kids come along, like as they walk away to get more sticks, these other kids come along and yank the stick out of Stick Bird, and Bingo's devastated, but like the other kids didn't know. And so the dad is just, like they didn't know. They didn't know we just built that. Like, and so very sweetly, Bluey, the older sister, comes over and sort of walks. And I don't remember who she said, like mom taught me, or
no, her friend at school taught her.
Her friend at school taught her that like when you have these feelings of anger and frustration, and I can't remember. I watched it once, but like all these things, and she's literally like almost like pulling them off of herself, almost like as if they were like starfish stuck to her, or leeches or something. That she's like mimicking, like, I'm going to pull it out of me, pull it off of me. And she's like bundling it into her hands real tight into like a ball.
Yeah.
And then she's like, and then you throw it as far as you can, which ties into the other part of the episode where the mom was teaching them how to throw a stick really far. And so Bingo does that because she's sad and frustrated that these kids stole her stick. Yeah. And so she bundles it all up and her older sister helps her chuck it into the ocean and then they run off. Yep. And as it's like you feel it coming as the parent. You're like, oh, I know where this is headed. Yep. Before Bandit, the dad, walks back to his family, he just real quickly faces the ocean, does that, pulls all of his sad feelings out of him, bundles him up, and he chucks him as far as he can out into the water. And then he walks back to be with his family. And it was, as always, people are like, oh, everybody loves Bluey. I'm like, if y'all haven't watched it, like there is a reason everyone loves Bluey.
We all sort of have our spots when we watch Family Movie on Friday night. Yeah. And mine's on these little couches that we lay in front of our bigger couch. And I usually fall asleep. Mm-hmm. And I am weeping. Yeah. Like I have my sweatshirt on, so I have my hood up because I'm like, I don't really, like, I don't mind. Like I cry in front of the girls all the time. We talk about our feelings. Like we're very emotionally aware of what's going on. But I was just like, I'm crying too hard. Yeah. To like, it would like derail.
It would have derailed the following Bluey episodes. Yes.
And I just like, I don't know. It just hit me. It's sort of like that song. I'm just like, man, I carry a lot all the time. Yep. And because I can be like I, back to the backpack thing. Like we talked about how like your back, like you actively have to set down your backpack and like dig through it
throughout the day.
We're like, I don't think about stuff like that. But what I think I've done somehow is like I've just extended the straps of my backpack, like how you can make it real low. Yeah. And it's like dragging 50 feet behind me. And so like when I turn to look at my back, I don't say, oh, there's a bunch of rocks here. I'm like, oh, I don't even have a backpack. Look how good I am at life. And I sort of praise myself for that. And I did, I think, on that episode. And I think now weeks later, I'm realizing, oh no, I have a backpack. I'm just dragging it. And I like have to like really stop and like pull on the straps and pull it towards me to like look into it and be like, oh, this is full of crap. Like it's full of stuff that I don't realize I'm carrying in the day, but I realize months later that I've been carrying it for 30 or 40 days. And so that's sort of like the realization that episode and the song. I almost
feel like there is a genuine, it's who you are. It's who God made you to be. There is a genuine joy and lightheartedness that you naturally bring to life. Like it's not fake. It's not made up. It's just who you are. And so I would maybe add on or suggest like, it's almost like you have this really great, it is great, but it's like this invisibility cloak. So the backpack is on you, right? But you do have this layer of your personality that is naturally just like maybe kind of like an invisibility cloak. So like you said, you look back there and it's not there. Right. You don't see it. You're not reminded of it constantly, but it is there.
But then after like a year, I'm like, man, I carried a lot this year.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And so what I'm like, and what I end up thinking about, because this is how I think about life, and sort of like a lot of times we're talking about how Brooke thinks about life. This is how I think about life. It's like when I think about I'm so oriented to the future. Yeah.
Which it's just who you are.
Just who I am. I think about like, hey, TJ, imagine like your invisibility cloak works well and like your future will be all right. Like you're a pretty healthy guy. Like, I don't think like, like your future's going to be okay. Imagine if you actually dealt with what's under the cloak. Imagine how good your future would be. Yeah. Imagine how like much more rich all your experiences and your emotions and your feelings and your time and your energy would be if you just peeled back the cloak, dealt with what was in the bag and bundled it up and threw those rocks into the ocean as far as you could and moved on. And I think what I'm realizing is like 2024 might be that year. Just shy of 39.
So fun. I really do believe that we all have them in life. And I think some of us
I think we have multiple
Oh,
versions of them.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's one of those things where, like, if you don't start to recognize it and pay attention to your own life, they almost feel extra hard.
Mhm.
Like I'll speak for myself, but like it helps me to recognize and acknowledge, like, I am in a hard season. This feels hard.
Right.
Because then I let myself actually be in it
Yeah.
and feel it instead of being like, nope, I'm going to be at the surface of this or crawl out of this
Yeah.
as soon as I can.
And I think like what's interesting is like you use the word hard and
I don't know if that's the right one,
but I'm sure that has like a very specific connotation to you.
To me personally,
it's like
what hard is for me when I say that.
And
yes.
so when I say that, and this is I think the year that I think I'm going to have. And again, I'm not speaking that over my life. I actually think it'll be like really good and rich and purposeful. Is like I am taking time with what is going on. And normally I'm like, I'll put it in the backpack. Let's pop that cloak back on and let's move on. And so like, this is a cloakless year. This is a phoneless year, you know, like and I'm going to take time and I'm going to sit with it and I'm going to spend time over and over again, week in and week out, day in and day out, like peeking behind that cloak and seeing what's down there and like digging deep because that backpack is a lot bigger than I realized. And just like, I'm really thankful this week for my friend Ian. Like, I felt like the Lord was sort of just like, you need to reach out to him.
Yeah.
And just in the few sort of meetings that we've had, like real casual.
Right.
Like, it's not
you
like
didn't reach out like you hadn't talked to him in forever.
No.
You were texting that morning probably.
Yeah.
But like,
it's like, but I just was like, I want purposeful conversations with you because I think the Lord has something for me. And even just in the way that like I speak about myself, there's so much back package in that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and I know that you've said stuff to me about it.
Yeah.
And I know that like, but because I think the cloak exists, I sort of just forget that it compounds over and over and over and over again. And then when I peel back the cloak, I'm like, gosh, that's a mess. Let's put it back on.
Yeah.
And keep going.
Yeah.
And so you might get a little bit different version of DJ this year.
Hey, I'll go that way.
So 13 days in, I'm so thankful that the Lord is kind and that he saw us in that planning meeting and was just like,
that's cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
No, I don't think he thinks like that,
but he saw
our hearts. I mean, we were there for a reason, because again, we said in last week's episode, it's not like we go in and are like, here's our plan for the whole year. We know everything.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it works.
But I don't think I have these emotions and have these feelings without that meaning.
Correct.
And I don't think we realize how drastic the rhythm goes from 1.0 to 2.0 without actually having a 1.0. And so like there have been these sort of like compounding factors that have led to like such a rich 13 days of life and feeling like just overwhelmed by all of it.
Yeah.
In like a good, beautiful, wonderful way.
Yeah.
I painted twice this year already.
Yeah.
I don't think I picked up a paintbrush last year. Maybe once.
Yeah. A couple times. Yeah.
And so like, yeah, I guess I did at the beginning of the year, but I didn't like that last half of the year. And so, yeah, it's just been really, really cool. And so I'm very thankful. Like I find myself feeling like through this feeling like the flame is being fanned because I'm sort of like letting go of the matches.
Well, yeah, I mean, a true flame needs space. It needs air. It needs breath. You know, like you keep it under a cloak and it will go out.
Yeah. So that's how my week's been.
That's great. I love that. It's interesting though. And we can wrap this up, but like nice short episode. As I drove away last night crying, which I knew I would. And I was like trying to just let myself be in it and not like feel anything specific about the crying. I was met with that same phrase of like, man, the Lord is so kind. Yeah, because like like I said at the beginning, I didn't know I needed it as much as I did. And so, yeah, he just really is. And it's so much more It's so much deeper. It's so much, I don't know, other words like that. When we acknowledge it, when we say out loud, when we talk about it, when we journal it, when we sit in it and we acknowledge and pay attention to how kind he is. Instead of just being like, well, that was a nice coincidence. I didn't realize I was feeling bad. And then my friend came. Or, you know, oh, so great that my friend had advice for me that was really helpful. Like when we see it for what it is, which is his kindness.
And it's like, you know, like we talk about the backpack, like that, those aren't just hard, heavy, bad emotions. Like they're rich, full, beautiful, like vibrant things in there.
Yeah.
And it's like, when we say the Lord is kind in like that really rich, vibrant way, we're taking time as well.
Yeah.
To take off the backpack, look at that thing, like, you know, acknowledge it, see it for what it is. It's like, you know, when you, it's like you guys sitting on the North Shore, like acknowledging that moment in time and just being like, this is beautiful. This is breathtaking. This is amazing. Like nature really does that to us in a really 100%. Profound way.
This makes me feel things.
Yes. And so like I think what I'm realizing that like I skip out on doing it for the bad things, but I also skip out a lot of it on doing it for the good things too. And both are needed.
Both and.
So that's all we got for you today.
That's it.
Just a broken shin, a scared to death, and some tears.
Yeah. It's a great episode 13 days in.
Oh, well, thank you for listening. Thank you for making us a part of your week. Collection comes out on Thursday. What's the code for podcasters?
Did we already make one?
No.
Oh, you said it like, what's the code, as if I was supposed to remember something.
Should it be Shin?
No.
Was Phoebe there?
What was the song you sang? My God is so great.
My God is so great. So strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do for you.
Longest code of all time. All caps.
Let's say it's for you.
FORYOU.
Yeah.
Okay. That works. That might be a code.
No.
You'll remove it if it is.
So save extra on this first collection of 2024 on Thursday, the 18th, 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making us a part of your week. In case you didn't realize, this is a current episode that we're currently recording live.
Okay, I love you. Bye.